Hey, greetings and salutations, Honor and Arms StarCraft 2 League. This is T to the Weiler, Tyler, co-casting this league match. Looks like we have TVT, two previously unknown characters. Stationary, Yellow Terran spawning in the bottom corner, and Rend, the light pink Terran, spawning in the top.
Alright, and it looks like we're going to be on Steps of War. This is a really interesting map because with how short it is and how small these distances are between each other, you'd expect to see a lot of really early aggression, but it's not totally uncommon for these games to get drawn out into really long macro fests on this map.
Especially with the TVT matchup that we're going to see here. Let's just hope this doesn't devolve into yet another Marine Tank Viking combo.
Which, for anyone that might not be familiar with that, Tank Viking basically revolves around getting a couple tanks up and then getting a lot of Vikings up, because your tanks can shoot farther than they can see. So if you have the Vikings flying around for that extra sight range, the tanks can kill your opponent's tanks before they can see you.
That's right. Typically, you can go with very many fewer tanks than your opponent has, and with just air superiority, you can still pull ahead. Just because that extra 1 or 2 range that you can see really makes the difference.
And it looks like both players did send their scouting SCV out around 13. I mean, there's not really much they're going to get to see at this point because it's basically the same thing going on in either base.
Yeah, it looks like pretty much the exact same build. Rend getting his gas a little bit earlier than Stationary over here. Gas is just coming up now, I can see.
See, I actually like that play by Rend. I think that early gas lets him get a tech lab out faster. He could do some Reaper play if he wanted to. Stationary, on the other hand, is going to be kind of stuck with those Marines for a little bit longer. And in TVT, that can kind of be a...
That can definitely make the difference.
Yes, that could definitely be a disadvantage for him.
So we see Rend's orbital command is going up right now. He has a Marine going out. From the production station, both of them actually have a Marine going out. And now we're seeing Stationary's orbital command begin as well. So currently the builds do look very similar.
And that's unfortunately the sort of way that Terran play right now. There's really not much deviation from that sort of standard build, at least until you get past that first barracks. And then you'll see some changes with people going for those fast factories or for more barracks like Stationary and Rend are both doing.
Interesting. It looks like Stationary's chosen to go with a tech lab first, while Rend has built his reactor.
And you know, one of the interesting things, something I think a lot of people don't understand, is how good Marines actually are. The 2 Marines that Rend can pump out will be doing more damage than the 1 Marauder at much less the cost.
Especially when you take into account that the gas at this point of the game is just incredibly sparse. Rend is getting his second gas right now. Stationary hasn't started his yet, but he has started his 3rd racks. That is going to be really interesting. He's obviously going to go for a very heavy bio build here. We're going to have to see how that works out, with another tech lab on the 2nd racks, in fact.
And he's got that stim pack going right now. It could be for some sort of early push.
Probably a timed stim push, I think.
I would have to agree with you on that one.
But we'll have to see how that pans out. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, across the way, Rend's got his factory going up, which, with the 2 barracks, I would think that he's probably going for a more standard tank Viking.
All right, looks like the incomes are roughly equal right now, with Stationary taking a little bit of a lead. Looks like he has a mule or 2 out there. Rend's energy, Stationary's energy, both keeping them very low. It's good macro. While the production is definitely in favor of Stationary right now, with his 3 racks is up. He has 2 Marauders and the stim pack, which looks like it's finishing up in just about 50 seconds or so.
Yeah, you know, right now, though, neither one of them has really gotten a chance to look into each other's base since those initial SCVs. Rend just sent one down, but it didn't get past those early Marauders, or those Marauders watching the ramp. So I think pushing out now might be a bit of a risk, especially not knowing what you're walking into.
Indeed, yeah. Any push right now would pretty much just be absolutely foolhardy. I can't imagine that anyone would ever try a move that foolish.
And it looks like Stationary is pushing out with those, it looks like 6 Marauders and 2 Marines. Rend is going to see this as he has that Marine that just went down in the center of the map. And Stationary's got an SCV moving in there as well. No, he doesn't. Never mind. It's pulling back.
Ah, yes. Well, a good move pulling that SCV back. He's not going to be worth much in the combat, seeing as he's a melee attacker with a slow attack speed and not much damage. Okay, it looks like here we go. Here's the battle.
Rend's got this bunker going up. That could be enough to save him if he can get it up in time. It looks like it's going down, though.
Oh, no, he has decided to go after the forces. It looks like Rend has pulled his SCVs off the mineral line. And it has pushed Stationary's Marauders back for just long enough to get those Marines inside the bunker. I think that's going to turn this battle.
Oh, absolutely. Rend's definitely got this one well defended. There's no way Stationary's going to be pushed up with just those 3
Looks like
Marauders.
we got the first medevac coming out.
And they're all, I mean, those are all almost close to death from those stims.
Absolutely. I think Rend should pretty much just push out right now. I think he would be able to do a lot of damage. I can't see why he's choosing not to repair that bunker, though. He just basically lost 100 minerals for nothing.
Well, you know, and especially in these really sort of intense situations, it's sort of easy to just lose focus of something, especially like that. He's got another medevac about to come out. It looks like he's loading one up and moving it off to the side. We could see some drops coming very soon.
Interesting. Dropping with the only medevac. This is gonna... I would think this is maybe going to be some sort of harass or something like that. It doesn't look like Stationary has much of anything right now that can even shoot up.
Yes, it looks like also he went for that Expo Command Center, so he doesn't even have as many defenses units as he could because he chose to spend those 400 minerals on that Command Center. That dropship is landing right now. Let's see if it can do any damage.
Oh, and down it goes. That mineral line is getting hit.
Oh, and
looks like Stationary is pulling his forces back, but he is going to have way too much time to just do whatever he wants.
And Rend's going to make it out of there totally unscathed. And I mean, really, Stationary didn't get to do anything. He lost a few SCVs, so it wasn't too bad, but it really was enough to set him back a few workers.
You know, I think with if Rend continues that sort of harassment, then he'll really have a good shot at keeping Stationary's economy down for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing that those harassments do is it forces Stationary to play defensively. He can't push out if he's afraid of drops coming from everywhere. It looks like Rend's getting ready to push in at the front as well. He's got a handful of Marines and 3 Marauders, and those 2 medevacs backing him up are going to make all the difference.
I absolutely agree, especially when you're dealing with units with relatively low DPS, especially Marauders when they're fighting Marines. Those medevacs are just going to be able to heal as much damage as they want. He's going to emerge with very, very few casualties in this particular match.
Unfortunately, Stationary is getting himself caught in this ramp. Those Marines in the back aren't even firing. He's just now moved them down. And it looks
and it looks like Rend has lost this battle. He has to pull out with those medevacs.
Yeah, you know, he unfortunately only managed to get... He lost a lot more than he probably should have. He could have pulled out a bit earlier. And that orbital command didn't even fall. It's still at about half health. And Stationary is doing okay. He's building his defenses back up. He's got a couple more SCVs out right now than Rend does, and he just dropped a lot of mules, which really just means that he's letting his macro slip a bit too much.
You know, I'm not necessarily sure I agree. I think it's sometimes a good tactic to let your mules build up like that. That way you just get this giant influx whenever you want, whenever it's safe. If there was mules over there, there's a good chance that Rend might have been able to kill them, and that would be minerals lost. But with all those mules, they're probably going to get to mine their whole payload perfectly safe right now.
And it looks like Rend's getting ready to push out again with another one of those Marine Marauder forces with those medevacs in the air to keep them up. Stationary, on the other hand, has quite a few units up. He's got those Hellions that can deal with the Marines really well, but they're not really going to be able to do much with this bigger Marauder composition.
Oh, and it looks like Stationary is seeing this drop before it gets there, and just saw each other and split up again. It looks like neither player really wants to engage right now.
Although Stationary's got these 2 Hellions in, never mind. They're running away. Which was probably the smart move, because they would have gotten right up to those Marauders and those Marines at the front in front of the starport, and they wouldn't have done anything. Better to pull them back and let them meet up with the rest of the forces.
Now, you know what I like about this match, Steve? I like the fact that both of these Terran players are being very aggressive. They're being highly mobile. Perhaps a little bit reckless, but on the other hand, it's at least making for a very interesting match. I like the bio construction that both of these Terran players have got. We see that Rend now is going for a Raven from the starport. Heavy gas investment, but with two geysers, it's going to be with two geysers and a mainly marine sort of centric army. I think that's going to be easy enough for him to do.
And we've got stationary with a medevac now at the top, loaded up with 4 Hellions. If he can get that drop off in the main of Rend, that can do a lot of damage to the supply line. Those Hellions roast those light worker units so fast.
Oh, and it looks like Rend has just pulled his forces away. This harassment might just be more than Rend is willing to handle.
Well, it looks like, it unfortunately looks like Stationary has lost the medevac up there. He seems to be more focused on his main army that's moving out. Rend's is moving out as well. Looks like they're about to meet right outside of the ramp at his natural.
This is definitely going to be an interesting engagement. I can't tell really who's going to win. It looks like Rend has brought the Raven. I'm going to guess for the point defense drone, but he doesn't quite have the energy for this. He's going to need to wait for 100 energy. Patience here is going to be the key, or else it is just going to lose him way more than he really bargained for. Oh, and it looks like the drop has just gone down. Rend is moving his SCVs away, and Stationary has picked up his Hellions, and he is moving out.
You know, he didn't kill many SCVs, but a lot of those are low on health. One more drop like that, and he could easily kill 5, 6, 7 SCVs before Rend would have a chance to respond to it.
And here we go. Looks like this engagement has begun and ended. That point defense drone did, in fact, turn the tide of the battle.
Oh, it did, and so it did. It looks like Rend's just going to be able to walk into that natural and clean that up. Stationary really doesn't have much left. He's got 2 Hellions and 2 Marines, but that's really not enough to push down there with, especially not with that Ghost down there doing that extra damage to light units. It looks like he has to pull SCVs off to keep that bunker up, but he's losing a lot more than he should right here.
Definitely, but you know, he is keeping that command center alive. I don't think that it's going to, I don't think he's going to take it down. That is just too much way of defense from Stationary over here. But Rend's reinforcements have arrived. Let's see if he can, it looks like this engagement is going to go to Rend.
And you know, Stationary did get that Raven down, so those point defense drones won't be coming out anymore. But Rend still managed to pull ahead in this one. Though Stationary has some units coming back now, he'll probably be able to hold this off.
Absolutely, you know, and really Rend right now has definitely the superior production. 2 Marauders, 2 Hellions, a Banshee versus 3 Marauders, 2 Hellions, and a Marine. However, I just do not know if that is going to be enough to push with and really just end this game right now.
Yeah, you know, those Banshees are really good early on. If you can get that cloak with them, they can do a lot of harass, but I think that this far into the game, unless you're using them to back up your main army, they're not quite as good as people like to think they are, especially not when you've got orbital commands ready to sweep them and find out right where they are.
Absolutely. I'm not really sure where he's going with that Banshee, but looks like he's swinging around right now.
And there's a battle right at the main. Stationary got a Viking up to take out those medevacs. And
that is not good news for Rend.
He is going to push that back, finish off that point defense drone that's been sitting there for a while. And it looks like both players are just sort of content to sit back now and macro back up and feel a little bit safer than they probably do.